can local government drive a real development in Uganda? We shall also be talking a lot more about parish development model. I do have the national coordinator for the PDM, Honorable Dennis Galabuzi Sozi. He will be answering most of your questions. PS, thank you so much for sparing time. The Ministry of Local Government has a lot of work to do, but we do have very many Ugandans out there, PS, who do not really understand your mandate. Kindly describe to us, tell us, what is your mandate as the Ministry of Local Government?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. First and foremost, I wish to tell viewers that Ministry of Local Government, as mandated under Section 105 of the Local Government Act Cap 138, is responsible for guiding, coordinating, inspecting, monitoring, for ensuring the high performance standards at the local government level, but also for compliance and adherence to the national policies and laws. When we talk about the local governments, we are talking about 135 districts, 10 cities. We are excluding Kampala City Authority because that would be the 11th. We are talking about 1,487 sub-counties, 589 town councils, 85 municipal divisions, 20 city divisions, 10,716 parishes, but of course, what we are now funding under PDM is 10,589 and 71,202 villages. Now, that's a big scope. So every day we are making sure that the people of Uganda in the various units, as explained, are getting services. I wish to inform viewers that the biggest reform, among the biggest reforms that were made in 1987 was bringing in decentralization, which empowered local governments to operate as sub-national units with mandates under the law to take decisions on matters affecting the people in their jurisdiction. Over the period, we have built a strong mass of local leaders who are supposed to receive guidance, to receive policy, to receive policies, and determine how these resources are allocated to serve the people of Uganda. And I wish to report that out there, we have 45,000 members, leaders at LOC 5, LOC 3, and we have 800,000 members of the executives at the village and parish. That shows that we have leaders everywhere, and actually every 1 million people, we have 45 leaders. So this is a very big mass. So if you are talking about emancipation, democratization, popular participation, Uganda stands very high, having empowered its population to participate in decision making. When decentralization was launched, originally the issue was about governance. But later we agreed in 2006 that local economic development is key, so that decisions made are meant to make sure that developments are done to serve the people of Uganda. And as we go down into the explanation of the things we are doing, you will see that local governments have participated in a number of programs and a number of development projects to make sure that the people of Uganda are served. There are very many areas where local government entered 20 years down the road, and one of them is construction of community access roads with gravel. Originally, community access roads were seen as sub-county roads and they did not have to be gravelled. But over the time, we ventured there, and now we can really boast of 70,000 kilometers of access roads that we have been able to construct over the last 20 to 25 years. So these ones have been done as long as resources are given to local governments. Local governments using their structures have been able to take decisions, allocate resources, supervise construction to ensure that community access roads have been paved, have been maintained, and have been able to improve motorability and connectivity at the level of the population. So this is the wide mandate, but most important also, local governments supervise this professional staff. In the local governments, I wish to report to viewers that in every local government, think about Malacha, think about Ntoroko, you'll find that in every local government, you'll find 9 heads of departments at the level of assistant commissioners. And these are the ones guiding the technical direction of all policies in the local governments. So there are people out there. And another important issue is that decision making can take place concurrently in Bulambuli at the same time in Bulisa, in Kabongo at the same time in Karangara, and in Amuru at the same time in Chisoro. You find businesses going on, DEC meetings, district executive committee meetings are taking place, budgets are being approved, ordinances are being approved, and all these are aimed at serving the people of Uganda. So it has been a journey, and really, we really appreciate that the people of Uganda were given an opportunity by this decentralization reform to take charge in the decision making on matters that affect them and also in shaping their destiny. This has been an achievement over the period.
All right, Honorable, let me cue you in. The PS has talked about the wide mandate that they do have as a ministry. He has talked about the different structures that have been formulated to ensure that each Ugandan really gets to receive this service delivery that we are talking about. Let's talk about parish development model. I do understand that this really is in the local governments. What kind of development are we talking about in this case, Honorable?
Okay, I don't know actually where to start from, but thanks for that particular question. But I just want you to understand the concept,
please,
thoroughly and entirely. How did the PDM come up? Why PDM? Because I know that is a question in everyone's mind. And how comes it has performed probably better than most other programs, and all that we shall explain. But let's first go back to why PDM and how have we gotten to where we are. You know, His Excellency, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is a very wise person. And he has been very proactive when it comes to serving the people. But he has always reminded us, and this is something that we really not need any reminder. He has always reminded us that leadership is very well defined logically. Leadership is, first of all, understanding people's problems. Where there are no problems, I don't think leadership would be necessary. Leadership is solving society's problems. You offer yourself into leadership to solve people's problems. So once you're a leader, you have to understand what the problems of the people are. And His Excellency has been telling us, from his student days, he has been looking at Uganda and Africa at large and trying to diagnose the problem of our people and then have a right prescription, thus get into leadership. Now, when we get down to what is the problem in Africa and problem in Uganda, it's about backwardness. It's about social inequalities, economic inequalities, lack of prosperity. Those are things that he has been telling us over and over again. Now, that is why in the ideology of the NRM and the ideology of the President's vision, there lies the issue. I mean, the issue of socio-economic transformation among the 4 pillars of our ideology, of the NRM ideology. That for our society to transform and become modern from the backwardness and have social and economic equality, or at least some bit of transparency, there should be socio-economic transformation. Now, how is that socio-economic transformation going to be delivered? Now, this is where PDM comes in, of course. I'm cutting the whole long story short, but I'm trying to tell you how PDM gets in. Now, good enough, in Uganda, policies, we are not short on good policies. We have very good policies. One of the very good policies, like the PS has told you, is the decentralization policy. Very, very robust. Because whose problems are we trying to solve? We are trying to solve the people's problems. Where are the people? The people are in the villages. The people are in households. So, how then do you deliver these services to better their livelihoods, to have equity in, socially and economically, to remove that backwardness, to get them into modernity. And when you say modernity, it is for them to produce, either produce a good or have a service that will get them into modernity. Modernity meaning increasing their incomes at the household level. So how are you going to do it using decentralization? How is decentralization structured? He has just told you. He has given you a very elaborate structure, right from the villages, the village councils, all the way up to the national level. Now, we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. We need to use those particular structures to get down to the people and to deliver these services. So what is PDM? PDM is basically saying all service sector, or the whole of service sector, the people, the sectors that deliver services, service delivery sectors, are going to now be epicentered at the parish, closest to the people where the households are. Of course, why did we choose the parish and not the village? Because the village doesn't have those official structures, okay? The last public servant, I think, if I'm not wrong, is the parish chief.
Yeah, true.
So we say the last mile administrative structure in our local government, in our decentralization system, is the parish, with the parish chief. So we coined it around, and the president said, coin it around the parish, and thus parish development model. The development is all encompassing, it's all across sectors. I'll give you a very good example. You know, if you're going to change people's fortunes and get them into the money economy, like they said of late, that is getting them into the modern world, I would say. Get them into the economic echelons of any modern society. You would first and foremost look at the factors of production, because the only way you can get them there and show that there is growth is looking at what they produce or a service they offer, in turn for some money, for some income. So you have to look at the factors of production. Now PDM is centered around that. Look at the factors of production as they are now, and then deliver those services to enhance the production at the grassroots. You look at land, we are doing a lot about land. And you see land is a very big factor of production. As much as it is finite, it is a very big factor of production. Then you look at labor. Labor, you have to look at the human resource, the human capital development. Are the people healthy? Are the people well educated so that they can have some entrepreneurial skills with them, and all those sorts of labor-related aspects. Then capital, assets. You know, there are two types of capital: monetary capital, that is the credit in form of credit, and then the asset capital. Are things there, down there? Is machinery there to help on productivity? Is there electricity and transformers to help on processing? All that is also part of capital. But now that is where the biggest problem is. Because land is finite, labor probably very abundant. The only thing that will be left is to skill it, but the most important is capital. Now, once you look at that, cut across all those particular sectors that offer the services down at the parish, and thus we come up with the 7 pillars of the parish development model. Those ones I will get into them later, but basically, that is the parish model, parish development model in a nutshell, and it falls very, very squarely well into the decentralization program and decentralization policy to enhance its activities and implementation up to the grassroots.
Honorable, before I bring in the PS, you did talk about functionality, the policies that we do have, how robust they are, but going to the grassroots, the president has put a lot of emphasis on PDM and very many other different programs, but PDM are taking center stage. Do you think this could be a final bullet for Ugandans to see that they really change what they do receive when it comes to the economy?
Basically, what you're asking me is what are we doing differently? I think that's what you're asking, because the president has been very consistent with his objectives. It is to make sure that the households improve their incomes and in a sustainable manner so that they get into the money economy. Remember, in 2013, he was talking about 68% of people who are below, who are in subsistence, who are existing subsistently. But it has kept on reducing with different interventions. The first one was OWC. Well, it wasn't the first one, but when the 68% figure was quoted, he introduced OWC because people complained that things don't reach. So he said, okay, fine. What do we need? Inputs for production? Let me use the soldiers to deliver those inputs. It's all about service delivery. It's all about how things are delivered to the final beneficiary. So that was done. It reduced. OWC did a very good, they did a very good job from 68 all the way up to 39%. Those are the statistics you boss gave us. But of course, there were still other small challenges here and there. And His Excellency noted them and said, well, we are not going to change the objective. We are not going to change the goal. Let us just change modus operandi. Let's change the approach. Now, the approach, instead of thinking from the top and bringing things down to the bottom, to the grassroots, having that top-bottom approach, we said, let's try out the bottom-top approach. In other words, community-driven. And if you're to ask the PS here, he will tell you right now in the decentralization policy, the concept behind decentralization is community-driven development.
Actually, that is why I wanted to ask him.
Yes, community-driven. It has to come from down going up. Now, when you look at the concept of PDM, everything starts with the parish. It is demand-driven. Everything is demand-driven. So when we look at the factors of production and what exactly the communities lack and the people down there lack, all of them will tell you, we could have gotten out of this poverty, but we lack capital. We lack capital, we lack incentives, we lack this, we lack that. So we try as much as possible to take it down to them directly without it going through so many channels. But it is demand-driven. If he wants to do cows for milk, he will demand it by requesting for money that he actually requires to do what he wants to do. So what government is doing is just helping them with capital. That is both credit and the grants that they give through the PRF, but also so many other things. Like I said, the asset capital, the electricity, with water for production, all that is capital. With warehousing, with processing facilities, with so many things that the PS will also tell you about. Among one of the projects that that is under the ministry, what they do. So it is a whole of government approach to solving service delivery problems at the parish.
Okay. Yeah. Let me remind our viewer that we are actually also live on all our 11 radio stations, but also keep your questions coming in on 0709-602592. That's our WhatsApp number. Any question that you wish to ask the PS and the Honorable, they will answer your questions. PS, you did talk about the high performance that you're doing as the ministry in 135 districts, the 10 cities, but also focusing on the decentralization. We still do have citizens who are actually crying over poor service delivery in certain districts. So what are you doing as a ministry to ensure that the services that haven't reached to those areas actually get there on time? We still do have Ugandans who move from villages in the different districts thinking that Kampala city, that is where they will solve most of their problems. PS.
Yeah, thank you very much, viewers. In realization of the fact that Kampala city was being seen as the solution to all problems, local government led the process to create the 10 other cities. And these 10 other cities were regional, Arua, Gulu, Mbale, Mbarara, Fort Portal, and these were in the first place to provide the same opportunities that are available in Kampala. And I wish to mention that like the president guided the country many years back about emphasizing the tarmacking, the roads, emphasizing electricity and these other things. These towns, these cities are connected with tarmac. These cities are connected with electricity and other facilities, and therefore they are there to be able to help the people, let's say, of the southwestern region. They may need to Kampala, they can go to Mbarara, get what they want, and Mbarara can also get fed from Kampala, and the same would be for Potro, the same would be Lira, Mbale, Gulu, Jinja, and the rest of them. So this one was one of the ways to deal with that issue, that everybody should not look at Kampala as the solution for providing the required services for the population. So local government also links to other policies of government, like the policy, as I already mentioned, make sure the whole country is connected by tarmac, and therefore, as long as that connectivity is there, then all people are reached out. I've already mentioned about our intervention into the road construction very many years ago. I remember our first project that time was Southwestern, it used to be called SWARAP, rehabilitation program. The Minister of Local Government was able to open a number of roads in the Southwestern, and this was followed by Chibale, Masindi, Chibale, Hoima project. It opened a number of roads. That was the next one was followed by the area-based agriculture modernization program. It was followed by community infrastructure program, and now we have had others like local economic growth support project. We have had the national oilseed project. So that's why I said that from that period that we started getting involved in opening community access roads and also making sure that they are graveled, that's why I said we are now boasting of having covered 70,000 kilometers of community access roads on the target which had been put at that time of opening the country with 100,000 community access roads. As you may see, you will find that we have reopened the country, and that has been able to increase service delivery to the population. But we have not only been able to deal with roads again only, but we have also been able to use local governments to receive government funding through projects like Uganda Intergovernmental Transfer Program, UGIFT, which has given funds for health centers, for secondary schools, and we have been able to use the local government system to do procurement, to do supervision, to do monitoring, working with the central government. And you can see a number of projects out there which have been put up by local governments as a system. Another issue I wanted to emphasize earlier is that this decentralization reform, which really one must, of course, appreciate that this empowerment of the people of Uganda was one of the first reforms done in 1987 by this government, by the NRM government. And of course, it was heavily supported and led by President Yoweri Museveni, picking from the resistance council system in Ruwero Triangle, has helped transform the Wananchi to a higher level, because originally the Wananchi were only involved in elections. But this one now gave them a chance not only to do elections, but to participate in making decisions that affect them. And that's why they participate in budgets, they participate in planning. When you announce resources, they allocate the resources, because they know better which area needs the bridge most than another one if they get money. Which roads need to be rehabilitated and maintained. So I would quickly say that this has helped to make sure that the people are served. I wish to point out, when you go into our law, it requires the, let's say, the executive committees in every local government to put a day to receive complaints and issues from the Wananchi. But also the councillors across, whom I mentioned that there are 45,000 councillors and leaders, they are supposed to pick a day to go to the Wananchi and be able to listen to their problems. I wish to report to viewers that there has been an observation that sometimes the leaders, like the district chairpersons and mayors, do not reach the people. Now the government has given them pickup vehicles to enable them to reach the people. That is the purpose. And we have actually issued guidelines that these vehicles are meant to facilitate the leaders at that level to go out the population and find out.
I remember you gave out 176 of them.
196. But earlier we had given 2,487 motorcycles to all LC3s. Again, in the spirit, means that these leaders at LC3 level have no excuse on why they cannot go to the population to check out their issues, but also to check out on service delivery. Okay. So I wish to point out that really this system has helped, because it is able, it's like a tapping machinery. It is able to tap whatever resources are available, whatever policies are available, like the national coordinator, Honorable Garabs, is saying, if the government decides to design PDM led by His Excellency the President, it finds a system already. Because I wish to inform the viewers that at every LC3 level, at every LC5 level, there is a committee and a member of the executive responsible for production issues.
Thank you.
For social services.
PS,
Yes.
we are going for a break, but also there are questions that are coming in that you will actually answer together with Honorable. Good evening. My concern is really on